Hello, welcome to Elisa Marie Designs. I am Elisa Maria, and today is Saturday, but I am filming Self-Care Sunday. I'm actually jumping from one canvas to another. I just got done doing a member crafternoon, Saturday crafternoon with my members of my channel. We were diamond painting. Well, I was diamond painting. YouTube didn't want to cooperate. I was diamond painting Chosen by Curtis Reikovich of Dreamer Designs. And today we have, for Self-Care Sunday, we have Bud. He's back. He's somewhere buried underneath here. Poor thing. Let me get my confetti trays out and ready, because ever since I started to diamond paint this way, I cannot diamond paint any other way. I took out 4 of the drills that I'm going to be working on. They're all kind of clustered together. One is an AB. Ooh. And I'm going to just mark them that I have the, oh, well, everything is upside down. So it's the arrow going up. Yep. How is everyone? I hope you're ready for big magic. I am reading along with you. I have read this book, but I am reading along with you all again because I want to be, I want, well, I think you always have a new perspective, because where you were is not where you are now. And I think you just always have a new perspective on, even if you've read the book before, to be, reading it again, new experiences, and you've grown a little bit more, of course, and you're just, I think, ready. I think I'm going to use what I used earlier. I used my diamond painting pen. I used this guy that you all like. There was a demo on this past week. I'm going to use wax, and I'm going to use putty. And I'm going to get a tray out because we're going to have some water that we're going to need. So I'll use my Diamond Art Club tray. Oh boy, maybe not. Let me use this gold one. It's already open. There we go. We'll use this one. And we are getting ready. So a little recap last week. Elizabeth Gilbert was talking about what type of child she was, that she was her family used to call her Perilous Pearl, because she was just, or Pitiful Pearl, I'm sorry. Pitiful Pearl, her father used to call her, because she was afraid, of everything. I've never heard of a child being so afraid of so many things, like ocean waves. And wanting people to not, she said she spent the greater part of her summer trying to convince her mother to have everyone get out of the ocean. That's how afraid she was of things. And, for the artistic, and that's an artistic mind right there. If you think that you're going to get your mother, her mother was not having it. Her mother was like, listen, you're afraid of the ocean? Well, then we're going to get in the ocean. You're afraid of this, and that's what we're going to do. So her mother was very wise. I got my water bottle ready for when we get our ABs out. Stay tuned. We'll know what that's all about. I got my Kindle Scribe up. There's a part of Bud's eye. I'm going to put a picture up of him up here. And while you guys get settled, get your whip out, settle in. Maybe you got your Sunday coffee. Maybe you're laying in bed. Maybe you're just listening along to this. Maybe you're working. Maybe you're crocheting. You could be doing a number of things. There we go. I'm going to pick up where we left off. So Elizabeth Gilbert was afraid of everything, and for a creative person, your fear and your creativity go hand in hand. And I learned this lesson a long time ago. I learned it through multiple books, especially being a yoga teacher. It's the energy of everything. Everything has energy. Everything has a positive and a negative. And with the things that we courage to do comes the fear. And how she explained it was something that, from the first time that I read it, has been buried into my brain, that you can let fear tag along with you, but fear is not allowed to do anything. So she told the story of how she goes, her creative journeys are a road trip, and how she takes creativity along for the ride, but fear takes a back seat. Fear can come because your fear does have a purpose. But not when it comes to choosing whether or not you start something or don't start something, or any creative decisions, or bring up any of the reasons why you shouldn't do something or why you're afraid to do it, and like trying to reinforce it. So creativity comes along for the ride. Fear takes a back seat. Fear is not allowed to touch the radio. Fear is not allowed to touch the air conditioning, and fear is not allowed to drive. And that analogy of creativity and fear for me has been with me since the first time I read this book, which I believe I read this book back in, oh boy, a long time ago. I can actually see myself buying it, and I know that I was in Philly. Doesn't mean that I wasn't living in New York, because I was traveling back and forth. But it was a while ago. I would say probably when I moved back, 2009, 10 may have been the time that I was reading this book. Okay, I got my water tray here. Let's move that out of the way. I left off with Bud. I believe Bud was my creative endeavor here. And we're getting pretty far with Bud. We're getting pretty far with him. He's almost done. He's 3/4 of the way done. And so I'm very happy about that, about the fact that I am going to have a finish soon. I'm going to start down here. I'm just going to reacclimate my whole desk again. There we go. I'm here. Here's my Kindle, trying to get it all in there. Where's my pen? Are we locked and loaded? If we aren't, we'll get locked. It's a beautiful day out, and I'm sure you're going to hear background noise because it's Saturday afternoon. These are for my ABs. Okay. Am I using this guy? I don't want to use you. I love you, but I don't want to use you. You've been MIA for a while. I want to use this guy. Alrighty. So, Elizabeth Gilbert ended the I'm going to read the last paragraph of where we left off, speaking about this journey in the car with creativity and fear. And once she sets fear straight, that, you know, you can come along, but you are not part of the decision making, then we head off together, me and creativity and fear, side by side by side forever, advancing once more into the terrifying but marvelous terrain of unknown outcome. Unknown outcome. Yeah, that's a breeding ground for fear if you want to not get it under control, because fear and uncertainty, it's like, oh, wow, you're going into this uncertain, oh, you know, better be careful here. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do this. Oh, you remember when you tried that once before and you failed? Yeah, so I get where she's going with this. Why it's worth it. It isn't always comfortable or easy carrying your fear around with you on your great and ambitious road trip. I mean, but it's always worth it. Because if you can't learn to travel comfortably alongside your fear, then you'll never be able to go anywhere interesting or do anything interesting. Yep. A lot of courage there, because, you know, we learned this from The Artist Way. If you're traveling down that road with The Artist Way with me, we did The Listening Path. That was a book I read prior to this. Being creative, when I would take paint classes over at Fleischer's in Philadelphia, that was one part of my creativity. I used to do the New York Institute when I was there. That was another part of my creative journey, where I would go with my girlfriend Barbara, who was not only an art teacher, an accomplished artist. And so, but we very much still traveled on our own path. Why did my Kindle shut down? Okay, so it popped back on. I hope it's not dying, but because John has this all the time. So, but I do think that, you know, even in The Artist Way, you're asked to give yourself an artist date, and you do that deliberately on your own, because you don't want to have your head filled with anybody else's input. You don't get an input. You don't get to sit and you don't get to, how's the saying go? If you have the vision for something, the universe, God, whatever you want to fill that blank in with, will give you the provision. And it's certainly not going to be your best friend that comes along with you, or anybody else for that matter, which is why it's a good idea to create, I believe, alone, and to create, outside of like where you're learning from teachers. Like I would go to my art classes, or I would go to the New York Institute with my girlfriend, but a lot of the times I don't share what I'm doing creatively with, a lot of my family does not even know that I have a YouTube channel, and there's a reason for that. Next paragraph. Okay, let me see. Where did I leave here? You'll never be able to go anywhere interesting or do anything interesting. And that would be a pity, because your life is short and rare and amazing and miraculous, and you want to do really interesting things and make really interesting things while you're still here. I know that's what you want for yourself, because that's what I want for myself too. It's what we all want. And you have treasures hidden within you, extraordinary treasures, and so do I, and so does everyone around us. And bringing those treasures to light takes work and faith and focus and courage and hours of devotion, and the clock is ticking and the world is spinning, and we simply do not have the time anymore to think so small. Oh, amen, Elizabeth. I think that along this journey, I would make time to do my craft, of course. But it's gotten more serious, I think, because this is such a meditative process. And while I'm diamond painting, which I'm not really getting a lot of time to diamond paint by myself anymore, I feel like I have a really full calendar. I did a little bit of Chosen after I did the video for my members. And I was like, I'm not going to put you away. I'm going to diamond paint a little bit more. And I did the same thing with Rico during the week. I'm like, I'm not going to put you away. I'm going to diamond paint a little bit more, because I don't get the opportunity to diamond paint for myself. But when it comes to doing anything outside of what brings me joy, and that's creating, when it comes to things outside of my creative world, I'm very stingy with my time. So I get what Elizabeth is saying here. There's a lot of things that we want to do, a lot of things that we want to see, a lot of things we want to create, and the world is spinning, and we only got X amount of time. I think I said this to you guys last week. We all get 7 days of the week. We all get 24 hours in a day. We all get 60 seconds to a minute. And I am very stingy with that time. And when if someone schedules me, meaning my husband schedules me to do something, I signed us up for this or that, I'm like, don't do that anymore, because I'm very stingy with my time. I might like what we're doing. I might want to see if I want to do this or not, but in the meantime, don't schedule me for anything, because I get it. We don't have the time to think small. Next chapter is called Enchantment. I think I was talking to my members about this today, about ideas and how they come to you, and whether or not you pick up what is coming to you or not, because I'm remembering this book as I read along. So the next chapter is called Enchantment, and it's the first chapter is An Idea Arrives. Now that we're done talking about fear, we can finally talk about magic. Let me begin by telling you the most magical thing that's ever happened to me. It's about a book that I failed to write. My tale begins in the early spring of 2006. I had recently published Eat, Pray, Love, and I was trying to figure out what to do with myself next, creatively speaking. My instincts told me it was time to return to my literary roots and write a work of fiction, something I hadn't done in years. In fact, I hadn't written a novel in so long, I feared I had forgotten how to do it at all. I feared that fiction had become a language I could no longer speak, but now I had an idea for a novel, an idea that excited me tremendously. The idea was based on a story that my sweetheart, Philippe, had told me one night about something that happened in Brazil back when he was growing up there in the 1960s. Apparently, the Brazilian government got a notion to build a giant highway across the Amazon jungle. What? This was during an era of rampant development and modernization, and such a scheme must have seemed stupendously forward-thinking at the time. No! The Brazilians poured a fortune into this ambitious plan. The international development community poured in many more millions. A staggering portion of this money immediately disappeared into a black hole of corruption and disorganization, but eventually enough cash trickled into the right places that the highway project finally began. All was going well for a few months. Progress was made. A short section of the road was completed. A jungle was being conquered. Then it started to rain. It seems that none of the planners of this project had fully grasped the reality of what the rainy season means in the Amazon. The construction site was immediately inundated and rendered uninhabitable. The crew had no choice but to walk away, leaving behind all their equipment under several feet of water. And when they returned many months later, after the rains had subsided, they discovered to their horror that the jungle had basically devoured their highway project. Oh my gosh, so much to say there. Their efforts had been erased by nature, as if the laborers and the road had never existed at all. They couldn't even tell where they had been working. All their heavy equipment was missing too. It had not been stolen. It had simply been swallowed. As Felipe told it, bulldozers with tires as tall as a man had been sucked into the earth and disappeared forever. It was all gone. My first thought was to try and bulldoze into the Amazon jungle. There's so much terrain that we know nothing about, so much life in there that we know nothing about, to go in and bulldoze our way in as humans, to think that we're being forward thinking. And I can't even imagine. But anyway, when he told me this story, especially the part about the jungle swallowing up the machines, chills ran up my arms. Pretty much me too. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up for an instant, and I felt a little sick, a little dizzy. I felt like I was falling in love, or had just heard alarming news, or was looking over a precipice at something beautiful and mesmerizing but dangerous. I experienced these symptoms before, so I knew immediately what was going on. Such an intense emotional and physiological reaction doesn't strike me often, but it happens enough and is consistent enough with symptoms reported by people all over the world, all throughout history, that I believe I can confidently call it by what its name is: inspiration. This is what it feels like when an idea comes to you. How many of us can relate to that? When you have an idea that you believe no one has thought of before, and so, you just want to get busy. You want to get busy with this great idea. You want to get it out, and you want to, probably much like they thought they were doing with the Amazon. The Amazon jungle. So much, precious life, plant life, botanicals, animals to disrupt. I just don't know. I would say, oh my gosh, no, this is a thing of beauty. You can't bulldoze through this. This is not progress. What are you talking about? How ideas work. I should explain at this point that I've spent my entire life in devotion to creativity, and along the way I've developed a set of beliefs about how it works and how to work with it that is entirely and unapologetically based upon magical thinking. And when I refer to magic here, I mean it literally, like in the Hogwarts sense. I'm referring to the supernatural, the mystical, the inexplicable, the surreal, the divine, the transcendent, the otherworldly, because the truth is, I believe that creativity is a force of enchantment, not entirely human in its origin. What a beautiful way to put it. I have been referring to my creative ideas as, the muses buzzing around me, because I think that, and who are the muses, right? I had this discussion with my members today on the channel that John and I were looking for something interesting to watch, and there is a show on Netflix now called Chaos, K-A-O-S, where Jeff Goldblum is playing Zeus, and there's a lot of other mythological Greek stories involved here. And if you've been with me for a while, then you're going to like the fact that the first story has to do with Orpheus and Eurydice. Now I looked up 100 ways of how to say Eurydice, Eurydice. I've heard it all different ways, but I think that they're saying it on the show Eurydice, because her nickname in the show is Riddy. And who are the muses? Is it little fairies? Is it the creative force? Is it your higher power? Is it whatever, like I said, whatever you want to fill in the blank with? I believe that our creativity is a gift from God, and what we create with it is our gift back. So, and when she was describing these physiological feelings that she was having in her body, it wasn't until she noted what they were inspiration that, yes, I think that you do get a little giddy and a little dizzy, and you get I get like a burst of energy, and I start writing things down, and I want to really get to work with what it is. Okay. I am aware this is not an especially modern or rational way of seeing things. It is decidedly unscientific. Just the other day, I heard a respected neurologist say in an interview, the creative process may seem magical, but it is not magic. With all due respect, I disagree. I believe the creative process is both magical and magic, because here is what I choose to believe about how creativity functions. I believe that our planet is inhabited not only by animals and plants and bacteria and viruses, but also by ideas. Ideas are disembodied, energetic life forms. They are completely separate from us, but capable of interacting with us, albeit strangely. Ideas have no material body, but they do have consciousness, and they most certainly have will. Ideas are driven by a single impulse to be made manifest. I'm going to stop here, even though it goes on and on, because when I was reading The Artist Way for the first time, it was very surreal to me. I had carried this book around with me for I don't know how many years, and I didn't decide to open it up and read it until I lived in New York. And one day when I was going to work in New York, I was thinking about, wow, I'm living in Manhattan, and was working in an art store, and all the people just walking, just crossing one avenue. And I was thinking, I felt something very energetic enter my body. And I remember someone saying to me, you see all those lights on Broadway? They're a broken dream. And I thought about that, and I thought about how many dreams am I walking on? How many people have dreams and ideas, and I'm walking on the footsteps of those very same, because we're energy and we're leaving something behind in our footprints. And, whereas Elizabeth Gilbert is saying that this is something that we live amongst on our planet, on this little blue marble that's spinning. We're in the universe right now. It's not up there in the sky. We're in it. Julia Roberts, Julia Cameron describes it much the same way. And when I read The Artist Way, finally picked up this book, Julia Cameron wrote about walking in Manhattan, crossing the very avenue that I was on, and thinking about what she was picking up from everyone's footsteps. And I think when you are in an area like New York that is just this ball of creative energy, I used to come home to Philadelphia, and I'm telling you, I would sleep for days because you're picking up so much energy and you're putting down so much energy that when you finally get out of that energy, when you go through the vortex, the train takes you back to Philly. You're in that little wormhole. And I would come into Philly and I would be like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. And it would take me like 3 or 4 days to recharge from that energy. So I get what she's putting down here, and I love it. So the ideas are driven by a single impulse to be made manifest. And the only way an idea can be made manifest in our world is through collaboration with a human partner. It is only through a human's efforts that an idea can be escorted out of the ether and into the realm of the actual. Therefore, ideas spend an eternity swirling around us, searching for available and willing human partners. I'm talking about all ideas here: artistic, scientific, industrial, commercial, ethical, religious, political. When an idea thinks it has found somebody, say you might be able to bring it into the world. The idea will pay you a visit. It will try to get your attention. Mostly, you will not notice. This is likely because you're so consumed by your own dramas, anxieties, distractions, insecurities, and duties that you aren't receptive to inspiration. You might miss the signal because you're watching TV or shopping or brooding over how angry you are at someone, or pondering your failures and mistakes, or just generally really busy. The idea will try to wave you down, perhaps for a few moments, perhaps for a few months, perhaps even for a few years. But when it finally realizes that you're oblivious to its message, it will move on to someone else. I think that this is why I am such a huge journaler, is that I'm always capturing my ideas in pen and paper and writing them down. And there have been journals where, I kind of think that everything is just going to wait for me. I don't know where I got that idea from. Well, he attached himself to me though, didn't he? Where I go back and I read journals and I'm like, oh, that was a really great idea. What happened there? But if I don't write it down, then I forget about it. And I would imagine that someone else will pick it up. So I don't know. I'm starting to think have I ever seen someone pick up an idea that I thought that I had when I was younger? Yeah, when I was really a creative, really creative energy when I was younger too. And I would think of things, and I would be, think of things like, how come beach towels are square and they're not round, so that you have to keep getting up and turning your beach towel around. You could just kind of turn yourself around like a clock. And of course, I was too young to know what I was doing, but somebody came up with that idea. I don't know. And they didn't come up with it. He just went on to somebody else. I could have been a child prodigy. The other idea that I had as a kid that I remember was, how come mascara wands are straight? How come they don't curve to fit your eye? And then now, of course, look at all the different mascara wands that we have. So it's something to think about, isn't it? If you have an idea and you don't jump on it, that ideas were meant, they want to be born. And that reminds me of The Prophet by Gilbert. And there I read the poem on children over and over and over again, because children, in Gibran's words, and I agree, are life's longing for itself. And aren't ideas like our little children? We call them, this is my baby. Interesting. But sometimes, rarely, but magnificently, there comes a day when you're open and relaxed enough to actually receive something. Your defenses might slacken and your anxieties might ease, and then magic can slip through. The idea, sensing your openness, will start to do its work on you. It will send the universal physical and emotional signals of inspiration, the chills of the arms, the hair standing on the back of the neck, the nervous stomach, the buzzy thoughts, that feeling of falling into love or obsession. The idea will organize coincidences and portents to tumble across your path, to keep your interest keen. You will start to notice all sorts of signs pointing you toward the idea. Everything you see and touch and do will remind you of the idea. The idea will wake you up in the middle of the night and distract you from your everyday routine. Yeah, I'm going through that now. It's called insomnia. I'm just going to say, idea, will you let me get some sleep? The idea will not leave you alone until it has your fullest attention. And then in a quiet moment, it will ask, do you want to work with me? At this point, you have two options for how you can respond. Well, we kind of know what happens if we say yes, but what happens when we say no? Did you ever see your idea maybe? Well, I did. I just got done telling you guys, but I was young. I was like 7 or 8 when I had those ideas about beach towels and mascara wands. So I'm thinking that what happens when you say no is that idea goes and finds someone else. But I don't think that you ever forget it. You know, it might just not be the right time, the right place, the right energy. You know, we all have lives and we have things that we have going on. So, well, what does Elizabeth say? What happens when you say no? Let me move this closer to me. My eyes ain't as great as I think they are. The simplest answer, of course, is just to say no. Then you're off the hook. The idea will eventually go away, and congratulations, you don't need to bother creating anything. Nah. To be clear, this is not always a dishonorable choice. True, you might sometimes decline inspiration's invitation out of laziness, angst, insecurity, or petulance. But other times you might need to say no to an idea because it is truly not the right moment, or because you're already engaged in a different project, or because you're certain that this particular idea has accidentally knocked on the wrong door. Have I ever had that feeling? I don't know, because I kind of think that ideas spring out of your imagination. And so I wouldn't think that any idea came to the wrong door. I would think that there was something that it came to me for a reason. I have many times been approached by ideas that I know are not right for me, and I've politely said to them, I'm honored by your visitation, but I'm not your girl. May I respectfully suggest that you call upon, say, Barbara Kingslauber. I always try to use my most gracious manners when sending an idea away. You don't want word to get out to the universe that you're difficult to work with. Whatever your response, though, do be sympathetic to the poor idea. Remember, all it wants is to be realized. It's trying its best. It seriously has to knock on every door it can. Oh, isn't that the way all dreams go? You just keep knocking on those doors until your knuckles are bruised. So you might have to say no. When you say no, nothing happens at all. Mostly, people say no. Most of their lives, most people just walk around day after day saying no, 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 no. Then again, someday, you might just say yes. Let me change color here. I'm going to get some of those ABs in, but do I have to? Let's do this guy first before I do the ABs. What happens when you say yes? If you do say yes to an idea, now it's showtime. Now your job becomes both simple and difficult. You have officially entered into a contract with inspiration, and you must try to see it through all the way to its impossible to predict outcome. You may set the terms for this contract however you like. In contemporary Western civilization, the most common creative contract still seems to be one of suffering. I didn't see that coming. You may set the terms for this contract however you like. In contemporary Western civilization, the most common creative contract still seems to be one of suffering. This is the contract that says, I shall destroy myself and everyone around me in an effort to bring forth my inspiration, and my martyrdom shall be the badge of my creative legitimacy. She is so freaking funny. If you choose to enter into a contract of creative suffering, you should try to identify yourself as much as possible with the stereotype of the tormented artist. You will find no shortage of role models. To honor their example, follow these fundamental rules. Oh my gosh, drink as much as you possibly can. Sabotage all your relationships. Wrestle so vehemently against yourself that you come up bloodied every time. Express constant dissatisfaction with your work. Jealousy, compete against your peers. Begrudge anybody else's victories. Proclaim yourself cursed, not blessed, by your talents. Attach your sense of self-worth to external rewards. Be arrogant when you are successful and self-pitying when you fail. Honor darkness above light. Die young. Blame creativity for having killed you. Oh God, it's so true. Does it work, this method? Yeah, sure, it works great. That till it kills you. Oh my God. She's so funny, but how many tortured artist stories can we come up with? I have a few friends. Thankfully didn't kill them. So you can do it this way if you really want to. By all means, do not let me or anyone else ever take away your suffering if you're committed to it. But I'm not sure this route is especially productive, or that it will bring you or your loved ones enduring satisfaction and peace. I will concede that this method of creative living can be extremely glamorous, and it can make for an excellent biopic after you die. So if you prefer a short life or tragic glamour to a long life of rich satisfaction, and many do, knock yourself out. Where'd it go? I lost my trail. However, I've always had the sense that the muse of the tormented artist, while the artist himself is throwing temper tantrums, is sitting quietly in a corner of the studio, buffing its fingernails, patiently waiting for the guy to calm down and sober up so everyone can get back to work. Oh, I'm never going to get rid of that visual. Never going to get rid of that visual. I've learned to, well, this is how, Confetti Chaos started. I was tormenting myself, laboring over this canvas that I was like, I'm going to put this away. I'm not doing another block of confetti. My ears are in my shoulders. My shoulders are in my ears, I meant to say. I have a headache. And I got up and I went into my kitchen and I went and got a glass of water, and I felt like this tormented artist, this tortured soul. Why did I make her face so big that the background got blurred out? Now the background is all confetti. I never saw it coming. I hate confetti. But I think after my tantrum, the muse was just sitting in the corner, just buffing her nails and saying, you know what, when you're done with this, I got an idea. I got an idea about how you can make this fun. Just shut up and sit down. So while your muse is waiting for you to calm down so that you can get back to work, because in the end, it's all about the work, isn't it? Or shouldn't it be? And maybe there's a different way to approach it. May I suggest one? Oh, Elizabeth, tell me that it's what I concluded. We all want that validation that somehow, some way, we're all in the same, like there's a set of instructions. A different way, Elizabeth writes, is to cooperate fully, humbly, and joyfully with inspiration. Well, I can say that I did sit down and I brought this forth in my videotaping of Confetti Chaos, that I sat there and I was like, I'm going to make this fun if it kills me. Again, the tortured artist. If it kills me, I'm going to make confetti fun. So This is how I believe most people approach creativity for the most of history before we decide to get all la boheme about it. You can receive your ideas with respect and curiosity, not with drama or dread. You can clear out whatever obstacles are preventing you from living your most creative life with the simple understanding that whatever is bad for you is probably also bad for your work. You can lay off the booze a bit in order to have a keener mind. You can nourish a healthier relationship in order to keep yourself undistracted by self-invented emotional catastrophes. You can dare to be pleased sometimes with what you have created, and if a project doesn't work out, you can always think of it as having been worthwhile and constructive experiment. You can resist the seductions of grandiosity, blame, and shame. You can support other people in their creative efforts, acknowledging the truth that there's plenty of room for everyone. Oh, I say that over and over again. There's plenty of room for everyone. There is no reason to be jealous of anyone. If you spend your time looking over your shoulder what anyone else is doing, you really will not create. You're too busy looking at them, which is looking over your shoulder, which is looking behind you, instead of looking forward at where you're going. There's enough to go around. And I'll tell you, I learned this lesson in my own life, where most of you know I at one time belonged to the Lombardi family in New York City, which is America's first pizzeria. And they always tried to make us it was very flattering. You have the best pizza, the best. What's the best mean? Taste is subjective. It's like the eye of the beholder. Not everybody has the same taste buds, and it was great to be the best and to be honored for what we have done for over 100 years, 125 years. But there's room for everybody. There's still not enough pizza to go around. We still need more pizza. There's still enough to go around for everyone. You can measure your worth by your dedication to your path, not by your successes and failures. Yes, you can battle your demons through therapy, recovery, prayer, humility, instead of battling your gifts, in part by realizing that your demons were never the ones doing the work anyhow. You can believe that you are neither a slave to inspiration nor its master, but something far more interesting, its partner, and that the two of you are working together towards something intriguing and worthwhile. You can live a long life, making and doing really cool things the entire time. You might earn a living with your pursuits, or you might not, but you can recognize that this is not really the point. At the end of your days, you can thank creativity for having blessed you with a charmed, interesting, passionate existence. Wow. I sometimes wonder, with all these things that I've made in my lifetime, I have an art room full of handmade stuff, and I have a basement full of handmade things, and I have paintings, diamond paintings all around my home now, and I sometimes wonder, what will become of my little babies? What will become of them, Who will want them? But I hope, and I'm going to actually make sure and do more than just hope, that their existence is really understood as me have been being blessed with a charmed and interesting and passionate existence. Absolutely. That's another way to do it, and it's totally up to you, Elizabeth writes. An idea grows. Anyway, back to my story of magic. Thanks to Philippe's tale about the Amazon, I had been visited by a big idea, to wit, that I should write a novel about Brazil in the 1960s. Specifically, I felt inspired to write a novel about the efforts to build that ill-fated highway across the jungle. This idea seemed epic and thrilling to me. It was also daunting. What the hell did I know about the Brazilian Amazon or road construction in the 1960s? But all good ideas feel daunting at first, so I proceeded. I agreed to enter into a contract with the idea. We would work together. We shook hands on it, so to speak. I promised the idea that I would never fight against it and never abandon it, but would only cooperate with it to my utmost ability until our work together was done. Getting ready for my ABs here. A couple more. Let's see, where are the ABs? The ABs are this little box here. Oh gosh, there's not even that many. Oh, there's a few. I should do this guy first. Should I do him first? Did I do him? Who are you? You're this guy. Same guy, right? Yeah. Oh, I didn't take you out. See, I'm getting confused because I did this the wrong way. I knew that this one was this guy here. What am I doing? What am I doing? I knew that that one was that guy there, so this one is that guy. All right, I didn't color it in. Dummy me. Okay, let me put these here, and then I'll put my ABs in there. Okay, so I then did what you do when you get serious about a project or a pursuit. I cleared space for it. I cleaned off my desk, literally and figuratively. I committed myself to several hours of research every morning. I made myself go to bed early so I would get up at dawn and be ready for work. Well, you got to tell me how you do that trick, because I can't seem to get that under my head. I can't seem to get that right. Yep, that's that one. Can't get to bed early. My ideas just keep me up all night long. They just keep me up. They want to be talking. I think they're still making espressos long before I've had my last one. Okay. I get to bed early so I can get up at dawn and be ready for work. I say no to alluring distractions and social invitations so I can focus on my job. I ordered books about Brazil and placed calls to experts. I started studying Portuguese. Well, my friend Michael, who I just introduced you guys to, he moved out to Brazil, and at the time that he was moving out, I had my cafe in New York, and he set up a meet up where he would meet people in my cafe, and they would he was learning Portuguese because he was moving out there. He's there now, and I'm so proud of him because it's such a tough language, and he learned how to do it. He learned it. I bought index cards, my preferred method of keeping track of my notes. And I allowed myself to begin dreaming of this new world. And in that space, more ideas began to arrive. They always do. And the outlines of the story started to take shape, because that's the thing with creativity. Once you feed it, it continues to grow. I decided that the heroine of my novel would be a middle-aged American woman named Evelyn. It was the late 1960s, a time of great political and cultural upheaval, but Evelyn is living a quiet life, as she has always done in central Minnesota. She's a spinster who has spent 25 years working capably as an executive secretary to a large Midwestern highway construction firm. During that entire time, Evelyn has been quietly and hopelessly in love with her married boss, a kind, hardworking man who never sees Evelyn as anything but an efficient assistant. The boss has a son, a shady fellow with big ambitions. The son hears about this giant highway project going on down in Brazil and persuades his father to put in a bid. The son uses his charms and coercion to convince the father to throw the family's entire fortune behind this enterprise. Soon enough, the son heads down to Brazil with a great deal of money and wild dreams of glory. Quickly, both the son and the money vanish. Bereft, the father dispatches Evelyn, his most trusted ambassador, to go to the Amazon to try to recover the missing young man and the missing cash. Oh, maybe he got swallowed up by the Amazon. Out of a sense of duty and love, Evelyn heads to Brazil, at which point her orderly and unremarkable life is overturned as she enters into a world of chaos. Lies and violence, drama and epiphanies follow. Also, it's a love story. I decided I would call the novel Evelyn of the Amazon. Hmm. I wrote a proposal for the book and sent it to my publishing company. They liked it and they bought it. Now I entered into a second contract with the idea, a formal contract this time, with notarized signatures and deadlines and everything. Now I was fully invested. I got to work in earnest. I can't. I would love, to see something, to create something that big. Like, you're going to write a book. You're going to write a book, and you're gonna head on down to getting it published and signing contracts and all that. Wow. Wowie, wow, wow. So interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to get those ABs in there. I have another color here I wanted to take out. This is such a small canvas. I mean, this is really all that's in here. That's it. But I wanted to take this other guy out. Okay. Let me just get these couple in, and then I'm going to switch to my ABs. And they are those little boxes over there. I still have all these to do. All right, let me put the ABs in. I'm getting hungry for my ABs. Here we go. And then we'll take this little spray bottle. And then I'll take my pen that you all love. One side has wax, one side is just plain, empty, nothing in there. An idea gets sidetracked. A few months later, however, I wonder if I could fit this in here. An idea came to me. There we go. That's better. A few months later, however, real life drama derailed me from my pursuit of invented drama. Can you imagine? She had deadlines and signatures and everything, and oh no, wrong one here. For my pursuit of invented drama, on a routine trip to America, my sweetheart Philippe was detained by border agent and denied entry into the United States. Okay, why is that? He had done nothing wrong, but the Department of Homeland Security put him in jail anyway, and then threw him out of the country. We were informed that Philippe could never again come to America unless we got married. Oh gosh, that's really putting it on the line. Moreover, if I wanted to be with my love during this stressful and indefinite period of exile, I would have to pack up my entire life immediately and go join him overseas. This I promptly did, and I stayed abroad with him for almost a year as we dealt with our drama and our immigration paperwork. Wow. Talk about your life being turned upside down. I'm wetting the wax with water, and I'm picking up my ABs, and they don't stick. It's so funny when I get quiet, I hear people outside walking around. I want to go into these. I don't know why. My head is like on these arrows. Okay. I can't hide them because then you can't see. All right. Such upheaval does not make for the ideal environment in which to devote oneself to writing a sprawling and heavily researched novel about the Brazilian Amazon in the 1960s. Therefore, I put Evelyn away with sincere promises that I would return to her later. As soon as stability was restored to my life, I put all my existing notes for that novel into storage along with the rest of my belongings, and then flew halfway across the planet to be with Philippe and to work on solving our mess. And because I must always be writing about something or or else I will go mad. I decided to write about that. That is, to chronicle what was going on in my real life as a way of sorting through its complications and revelations. As Joan Didion said, I don't know what I think until I write about it. Is that who said that? Because I say that all the time. And it's another reason why I am so much of a journaler, is because I really don't know. I don't know what I think. It's not until I see my own handwriting and I see the words that I'm writing. And sometimes as I'm writing the words, I stop writing because I can't believe what I'm writing. Well, over time, this experience grew into my memoir, Committed. I've never read that. I don't even think I've ever heard of it. I want to make clear that I do not regret having written Committed. I'm forever grateful to that book. As the process of writing, it helped me to sort out my extreme anxiety about my impending marriage. But that book commanded my attention for quite a long while, and by the time it was done, more than 2 years had passed. More than 2 years that I had not spent working on Evelyn of the Amazon. Wait a minute, I'm getting confused. He was detained entry, but where is he? Is he in Brazil? If he's in Brazil, why not just write the book? Okay, well, whatever. So she's not regretful about, she's grateful for the book and the process of writing because it helped sort out her extreme anxiety about getting married. I would imagine so. But the book commanded my attention for quite a long time, and by the time it was done, more than 2 years had passed. More than 2 years that I had not spent working on Evelyn of the Amazon. That's a long time to leave an idea unattended. I was eager to get back to it, so once Philippe and I were safely married and settled back home in the U.S., and once Committed was finished, I'm going to look that book up, I retrieved all my notes out of storage, and I sat down at my desk in my new house, ready to recommence crafting my novel about the Amazon jungle. Right away, however, I made a most distressing discovery. My novel was gone. I think that is such an interesting concept to write about something like wanting to build a bridge through the Amazon. I think that is such an interesting topic. And then to turn it into a love story. Okay. An idea goes away. Allow me to explain. I do not mean to say that somebody had stolen my notes or that a crucial computer file had gone missing. What I mean is that the living heart of my novel was gone. Ugh. The living heart of my novel was gone. The sentiment force that inhabits all vibrant creative endeavors had vanished, swallowed like bulldozers in the jungle, you could say. Sure, all the research and writing I'd completed 2 years earlier was still there, but I knew at once that I was looking at nothing but the empty husk of what had once been a warm and pulsating entity. Well, I would imagine it's very hard to bring back that excitement. I mean, she literally traded it in. I hope that she addresses that. I mean, I know that I think she did call him the love of her life. I mean, I understand that he's in a dilemma. I also understand that you made a promise and you signed, and you had a timeline and you signed contracts and this is your life. And I don't know why she couldn't write where she was. I mean, how much of her time was spent on getting all this cleared up that she couldn't write. I just think I know what an amazing writer she is, and I'm getting kind of sad that she didn't write this book. Okay. I'm doing all right here with Mr. Foofy. I call him Foofy. All right, let's do this one. These got kind of clumpy. I don't want to work with these. That's why I wanted the other guy. Where's the other guy? No, I'm pretty much still in this. I'm still in this area here, but they got clumpy, and I don't want to work with them. And I've got to figure out why they got clumpy. Okay, I'll work with you. You're up. Okay. Where were we? Was once an empty husk of what had once been a warm and pulsating entity. I'm pretty stubborn about sticking with projects, so I prodded at the thing for several months, trying to make it work again, hoping to bring it back to life, but it was useless. Nothing was there. It was like poking a stick at a cast-off snakeskin. The more I messed with it, the faster it fell apart and turned to dust. I believed I knew what had happened because I'd seen this sort of thing before. The idea had grown tired of waiting, and it had left me. I could scarcely blame it. I had, after all, broken our contract. Thank you. I promised to dedicate myself completely to Evelyn of the Amazon, and then I reneged on that promise. I hadn't given the books a moment's attention for more than 2 years. What was the idea supposed to do? Sit around indefinitely while I ignored it? Maybe. Sometimes they do wait. Some exceedingly patient ideas might wait years or even decades for your attention, but others won't, because each idea has a different nature. Would you sit around in a box for 2 years while your collaborator blew you off? Probably not. Thus, the neglected idea did what many self-respecting living entities would do in the same circumstance. It hit the road. What am I on? Oh, this guy. Okay. It hit the road. Because this is the other side of the contract with creativity. If inspiration is allowed to unexpectedly enter you, it is also allowed to unexpectedly exit you. I'm on the wrong... Thank God I stopped myself. I saw myself do it. Okay. If I'd been younger, the loss of Evelyn of the Amazon might have knocked me off my feet. But by this point in my life, I'd been in the game of imagination long enough to let it go without excessive struggle. I could have wept over the loss, but I didn't, because I understood the terms of the deal and I accepted those terms. I understood that the best you can hope for in such a situation is to let your old idea go and catch the next idea that comes around. Okay. I'm mulling this over because how often are her ideas hitting her? I mean, she's writing novel after novel over here. I have to look up Committed. I think the next book I read of Elizabeth Gilbert's after Big Magic was The Signature of All Things. I love that book. Oh my God, I loved it. And then I read City of Girls. So where did Committed come in at? I could have wept. I didn't. She understood the terms. I understood the best you can hope for. Let your old ideas go and catch the next one. And the best way for that to happen is to move on swiftly with humility and grace. Don't fall into a funk about the one that got away. Don't beat yourself up. Don't rage at the gods above. All that is nothing but distraction. And the last thing you need is further distraction. Grieve if you must, but grieve efficiently. Better just to say goodbye to the lost idea with dignity and continue onward. Find something else to work on, anything immediately, and get at it. Keep busy. Now, I follow Elizabeth Gilbert. I follow her on Instagram, and the way that she signs off on everything that she writes is always onward. Most of all, be ready. Keep your eyes open. Listen. Follow your curiosity. Ask questions. Sniff around. Remain open. Trust in the miraculous truth that new and marvelous ideas are looking for human collaborators every single day. Ideas of every kind are constantly galloping towards us, constantly passing through us, constantly trying to get our attention. Let them know you're available. And for heaven's sake, try not to miss the next one. Well, the next, how far am I? I am over an hour. Let me see how long this next one is. Woo! It's a long one. So, what do you think? I'm loving it. And I'm going to wait just like you guys. I am the creator of my own cliffhanger. And I'm going to be in it with you. So, the next chapter is wizardry. I wonder if any of you reading this along with me, or did any of you go out and get the book? Did it spike your curiosity to read about this big magic and how creativity and imagination and ideas are formed? And, it is an invitation, and what you do with it, you know, what happens when you do, what happens when you don't. What was my, well, I mean, I think my tips are all like my big ideas, and I think of things, and I think the more that you do something, the more that they come at you. Just like right now, putting my little tray inside the other tray so that I can have not have two separate trays on here, but to work in a partnership with my drills. I think that's interesting. Yeah, I'm loving it. I feel like as I read this book again, I remember parts of it, but I think it was kind of good too. Like, she took a break from this book, from writing her book, and I took a break from this book. I remember it being I remember I was living in Philly because I remember in my art room, I would listen to her read this book. And I think when you're listening to a book, it is, if you're creating along with the book, that you're kind of sort of paying attention, but maybe you're drifting off into your own world. Maybe you're coming up with your own ideas. Maybe she's sparking something. Maybe I was writing. I know I can see all that going on in hindsight, that's what I was doing when I was listening to this book and reading this book, because I have this on my Kindle and it is on Whisper Sync. So when you stop reading, if you want to continue to, you know, you can't read, I can turn this on to Audible, and Audible will read it to me. And I love that Elizabeth Gilbert reads the book the way that she wants it to be read. But I haven't done that. I haven't picked this book up since I was with you guys last week. And so I am very curious to see where this story goes. I don't think that I remember. I don't know if her idea not only got away, but that it actually maybe turned into something else. But I love this whole idea of, you know, the forest. Just, can you imagine? Rain comes and all the workers and all the tools are just eaten up by the Amazon, and they just swallowed up whole. Huge bulldozers with tires as big as men got swallowed into the Amazon jungle. Yeah, I would love to read a story like that. The force of nature just taking over and being like, hey, no, get off of my rainbow. Things are just perfect here. We don't need humans coming in and disrupting it all. I love that story. So I am going to do a little bit more of Bud, and I'll give you an overview of him and how far along I've gotten with him. Like I said, there's only like another quarter of him left, which will be nice because I want to get him framed because he looks just like my little Foofy. And I will see you as always in the next one. I am going away tomorrow with my husband for his 60th celebration. That is still going on. And we will be away Sunday and Monday. So Monday is Member Monday. So, Member Monday. What am I going to do with you guys? Because that would have to be Chosen. And I won't be here for Chosen. Unless I do it Monday night. I could do it Monday night. I know what I will do, though. I am going to be off of one of the most beautiful places in Philadelphia, not too far from my home, Rittenhouse Square. And I'm going to do a little walk. And I'm going to show you around the square. That'll be really fun. Really fun. And I'll show you where my old restaurant was, too. I couldn't get down that street for a long time. But I can now. Everything for a reason, right? Anyway, enjoy your Sunday fun day. Have a good week ahead. It's Monday. It's a new week to get a creative idea together. I know that a lot of us are very tired. I've been hearing this from a lot of my friends. They're tired. And you know why we're tired? This is my thing. When the seasons change, we're coming into the fall. Are we in the fall yet? Is it officially fall? It's kind of like the days are getting shorter, but yet it's like 80 something degrees outside, and so everybody's running around trying to grab onto the last bit of the summer. But the summer's not as long anymore. The day isn't as long, but we're still trying to cram it all in. And so, and I think your own what is it, the circadian rhythm of it being fall. We're coming into fall, and this is where your body is telling you, hey, playtime's over. It's time to come inside and get ready. You must be ready for when it does get cold. You must, get your harvest together now and get ready for the winter. But, we're like the muses. We're dancing all around. And I think that that's what's going on, and we're not just honoring that rhythm of the natural rhythm of our bodies. And, because we're eating different things. Everything is pumpkin, everything. We're eating different things, and like the fruits that we were eating during the summer. Like I was enjoying my watermelon. It's like right now, cantaloupe is the way to go, and nectarines are the way to go. They're beautiful fall fruits. Figs are like really late fall and winter when they're really at their sweetest if you like a fig. So I think that that's what's going on. We need to honor what's going on no matter what's going on outside. And yeah, I think that's why we're tired. And I'm going to do like Elizabeth does. I'm just going to, sit down with my ideas and say, hey, listen, you can't keep me up all night long. You can't, because even John said to me today, I'm like, I'm so tired. And he's like, yeah, because you're up all night. I'm like, I'm up all night because I have all these ideas in my head and I have to get them down. He's like, no, you need to rest so that you can get these ideas done. So me and idea and creativity and inspiration, we're gonna sit around in my bedroom tonight, and I'm gonna kick them all out of the room. Like, well, maybe not kick them out of the room, but you can stay, but you're gonna have to sleep silently in the corner. Or go downstairs and play with the cappuccino machine. I don't care. Have everything ready for me when I get up. But you can't be in my room anymore unless you can be quiet. All right. That's what I got from this story. Tell me what you got from this story. I'm so interested to know what you got from this story. And next week is called Wizardry. I can't wait. I will see you, as always, in the next one. Keep creating that world that you want to live in. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for you.